Well. What's up, everyone? As you can tell, things are going great right now. Let's just quickly adjust some stuff. Let's move. There we go. And then all right. Nice shirt. Thank you very much. How's everyone been doing on this fine eve? I'm so sorry. My camera was dead, so I wasn't able to do this before the live started. So now we're having a very awkward situation in which I'm doing it now. But point is, season 3 is out. We did it. We have completed season 3 of X-Men Evolution. I forgot to ask if you were having a live. Glad I stuck around, LOL. Yes, it's always going to be around 11:45, or what? Insert that to your time zone. Around 45 minutes after the original show comes out, because the episodes are about 20 minutes, and that should give everyone enough time to watch it and then come back. I'm just busy rereading the OG Power Pack stuff. That's good shit. OG Power Pack is amazing. Will you be doing more comic-centered content again? I'd love to see maybe a Teen Titans reading thing where you sum up your feelings every 12 issues or something. Yes. I don't know about the 12 issues thing. Maybe, if that's like something a lot of people want. But yes, I have said before, and I'll say it again, the idea has always been, I used to get about one video essay out a month, and now I'm hoping to get about the same, just with the reactions as well. And I'm getting faster. It's actually working. I know it's hard to tell, but like I'm going to be able to take off for Thanksgiving. How fun is that? But so in the new year, I'm hoping we'll go back to 1 to 2 video essays a month and the reactions twice a week. That's the goal. Can you make the list for your favorite adaptation from Evolution? I think when we wrap the final season, which will be the Monday before Thanksgiving, I will try, maybe in the live, maybe I'll figure out how to finally share my screen and like do like professional looking lives, and we'll do a lot of ranking then. I feel like because ranking's more fun with people than it is just making my own lists. But as of now, favorite adaptation of a character is probably Arcade. Favorite invention of a character is definitely Toad. Are they no longer going to be reacts after Evolution? The X-Men ones will. I'm going to have, for the foreseeable future until we run out of shows, an X-Men show and then a non-X-Men show. I don't know what I'm going to call the Teen Titans one. I'm thinking of just reacts with 2 T's, like 2 capital T's. Is that fun? It feels less fun than reacts with the X. But like, let me know if what anyone thinks about that. And then... but for Wolverine and the X-Men, it'll stay reacts. We'll probably renumber it, which will be a little confusing, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. What do we? Or just first time watch? It will be my first time watch of Teen Titans. It will not be my first time watch of Wolverine and the X-Men. I think Nikhil reacts Wolverine and the X-Men episode 1 would be like the system. Reacts seems pretty good. Nice. Once we expand beyond things that start with an X or a T, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep this up. But we'll see. I'm so excited for the idea of Gleeax. That's fun. Yes, we'll see how reaction content's still faring in the new year. I will say, I love you all. Everyone who comes to the lives, everyone who's like on my Patreon, everyone who comments when the new videos drop, you're all amazing. There are less of you every week. If you look at my analytics, it is just kind of doing this over time. Every video does worse than the last. I think it's fine. I'm going to finish X-Men Evolution, and I'm gonna do Wolverine and the X-Men and Teen Titans. It just, if they really taper off and no one's watching them, we might not go much further than that. Gleeax is funny, but please don't watch Glee. Glee is so fun though. I think that's bound to happen with any series. Oh, absolutely. I think it's like also it's now it's a sunk cost thing. Like now there's 20 something episodes. If people want to jump in, I get that the episodes later on are going to be less, but we just got to make sure the channel's alive. YouTube algo doesn't show later episodes in the series to new viewers as much, I think. I've heard this too. Someone like messaged me on Instagram and I really appreciated it, basically being like, yo, be careful with the reaction series because if it looks like you get less views with each video, YouTube's going to push you out less. Glee will give you so many more views. The fandom is committed. It'll definitely help you. Oh yeah, getting into Glee is also like mainstream. Like I'd get a lot more normal people, but I don't know if I'm ready for the mainstream. I want to stay in my comic book bubble. These episodes help me get through my week. Hey, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. Glee is like bad, but it's in a funny way. Did it age well? No, but it's fun to watch these characters making awful decisions. Oh, absolutely. Guys, Glee was a huge part of my childhood. I don't think I ever finished it. I think I stopped around when they moved to New York, but those original few seasons, huge part of my childhood. Static Shock, never seen. All the DC shows I've never seen. So those could also be going. Maybe I'll always have a Marvel show and a DC show. And then, maybe Glee. But Glee would be insane because the production quality would have to be higher because I'd have to like work around the music, which permeates the entire show. My dream, this is me just giving away my content ideas for free, and I'm not going to be able to do this for like a year, but my dream to react to Glee would be to cover all of the songs with like parody versions of the songs. That would be like the true dream. Like they would be bad because I can't sing, but anyone who's been on my lives or like my Twitch and stuff knows what I'm kind of talking about. And I think that would be very funny. And it would do well, I imagine. It's just the production, like it would take so much longer to make one episode of the Glee one, partially because they're like an hour long and then also doing that joke. So was Apocalypse from the future before the past being hinted in the comics? No. So that's just because of the way I cut this episode. It's frustrating because of monetary reasons. To not get copyright struck, I have to cut the episode down a lot. And I can't leave in all the exposition just because if I don't have a way to like insert a comment every like 5 seconds, it can't go in the clip. But Rama Tut, the origin for the Apocalypse in this show is that he unseated a pharaoh named Rama Tut. And Rama Tut in the Marvel comics is Kang the Conqueror. And when they're in the show, Xavier is talking about he came from the stars, the technology is actually from the future, not from the past, all of that, he's talking about Rama Tut. So I imagine what they were doing is that they were going to have Rama Tut be Kang in this show too, and Apocalypse beat Kang, and that's where Apocalypse got his like future powers instead of the Celestials in this version. I just don't think we ever are going to get there. Like, I will say, I filmed all but the last 4 episodes of this show already, and Apocalypse does not get explained anymore so far. So I really doubt that we're going to get all of this set up. I just assume that was going to be the origin they had intended. Did you clock that Jean lost her sports trophies when she was outed as a mutant? Early pressure for trans kids. I said it almost exactly that. Yeah. I think this shows like the mutant metaphor, excuse me, the mutant metaphor works in my opinion when it's like reminiscent of oppression, not necessarily trying to be an allegory for it, if that makes sense. Like, I think you should be able to relate to what mutants go through if you're an oppressed individual or from a minority in general. Not necessarily like, I think anyone in a minority should be able to relate to the X-Men. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I think it shows the power of that in that this new debacle, and like trans people in sports has been a debate for decades, but like it's now a huge thing and it's still related to what we see in the X-Men metaphor. Who among the upper tier Marvel villains has Apocalypse most clashed with? Kang, I'm guessing. In the book, nah, I can't really think of him fucking with Kang. The High Evolutionary, I feel like, comes up every now and then. There's a whole series called Apocalypse versus Dracula. I've not read it, but like he does fight Dracula. As much as I love this show, the final season fell so flat, it makes me sad. Yeah, season 4 hasn't been great, in my opinion. And again, that's like spoilers. Like, you'll see the reactions. If you are on the Patreon, you can watch the reaction to the first 2 episodes now. It's fine. It's not to the same standard. And I think a lot of that is me unfairly judging it because I know the show's about to end. And I don't think they did. But yeah. How do you feel about the backing away from Kang and the big new big bad for the MCU? I mean, I get why they did it. I don't have any problem with them wanting to distance themselves from majors. It's an L. Trying to introduce Doom at the last moment so that he can be in Doomsday. It's an L. It's hard. What's funny is I have a video from when they announced Kang Dynasty claiming that movie was fake. And I was like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like they're not going to make this film actually. And they didn't. And that's actually really funny. Now, when I was saying it, I was saying that it was actually going to secretly be an X-Men film because they just were going to have X-Men and then the Avengers was like my idea. Super wrong about that. But it is funny that they straight up did not make Kang Dynasty, like I said. It's weird they just won't recast anymore. They used to do it all the time. I do think Kang specifically is hard to recast when you made such a huge point be that all of the variants look like him. Like with the end of Quantumania, that entire arena of all Jonathan Majors makes, oh, by the way, this one actually looks like Giancarlo Esposito or whatever, worse. Like that, you can't, it's harder to get away with that now because you specifically showed. Also Loki with the He Who Remains and stuff. Like you specifically showed that they all look like this guy. And that, they went way too hard in and then it didn't work out for him. Anyone else, I feel like, you can recast. Do you know that the Secret Wars film was supposed to release today before they screwed up their plans? Oh, yeah. I have a video back when that was announced, too, being like, that's not going to happen. Apocalypse worked alongside Kang during flashbacks and Uncanny Avengers, and the Bird's evil future kids fought Kang in that book. See, here's the thing. I didn't read Uncanny Avengers because I don't care about the Avengers, or at least they're a weird X-Men outreach team. But that's good to know. So thank you, I guess. That makes sense that where Apocalypse would come into a Kang story is in we now have the X-Men in the mainline universe story. Kang feels so big, even with Thanos being the first one. My only thing is on Kang and Marvel and Lego Marvel Superheroes too. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Kang had a huge push. Like, I think, unlike Thanos, they had an idea to do Kang for an actual long time. And the seeds were laid, even in stuff like Lego Marvel Superheroes too. I think they were trying to build Kang up as this big bad for Marvel in time for the movie. And it just all fell apart. So does Apocalypse have Wanda's powers now since he stole the ones Rogue stole? Again, speaking just from what I've already reacted to, and I've seen more, but it's not addressed. I don't know. The man does frustratingly little. I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that he's not going to really be active again until the finale of the entire show. I wish that was not the case. It's noon, in case you were wondering. Has Mammomax reappeared yet? Mammomax, to my knowledge, last appeared in NYX, which came out last year. I don't know if he has a more recent appearance. Let me see. But that's like pretty recent for a random character like Mammo Max. I do love Mammo Max, my elephant with tummy issues. Let's see when the last Mammo Max appearance was. Nope, NYX #2, last October. So it's been a year of no Mammo Max. That's crazy. Who is Mammo Max? Mammo Max, again, I don't know how to share my screen, and so this is going to be a problem. But Mammo Max is, imagine an elephant, but he's humongous, and he stands on 2 hind legs, and he's a person, not an elephant. He's a man who looks like an elephant, and his mutant power has nothing to do with that. It's stomach acid that he can spray on people. Yeah, love Mammo Max. How do you feel about the MCU X-Men movies potentially focusing more on the Summers family? I have already come to terms that I don't think the MCU X-Men movies are gonna be for me, and that is just because I'm annoying. I didn't even really like the Fox X-Men movies that much, and there's a huge contingent of X-Men fans that love those things. Like all of Doomsday being like, "Oh my god, we're bringing back the like Alan Tudyk as Nightcrawler." I didn't like his Nightcrawler, so I don't really care. But like that's because I'm an annoying ass, pretentious comic book fan. And I try to put that away for most Marvel movies. The X-Men is just harder for me. So he has the same power as Zeitgeist? Yes. I almost said that, but then I was like, who's going to know who Zeitgeist is? Is it not Tudyk? Oh, it's not Tudyk. Cumming. Alan Cumming. Right? Yeah. It's not Alan Tudyk, though. Alan Tudyk is Phosphorus. Oh god, I hated the Fox movies. Oh wow, so you're not alone. I feel like that used to be a more common take. I think nostalgia goggles have really grabbed people. I watched the X-Men movies before I read any comics, so my enjoyment of them is kind of grandfathered in. I don't think I would like them otherwise. To be fair, me too. It's kind of like a cyclical thing where like that's part of what got me into the X-Men, and then I read all the books, and then I watched them again just a few years ago. Actually, now pretty sizable amount of time ago. But I watched them all again to do my series where it was like characters meeting each other, and I didn't care for them. I think maybe I could watch them again and be a little less pretentious. We'll see. I want to do a react. This would be on the Patreon if I ever did it because it would get copyright struck immediately. And it'd be a different style. But I want to react to them with my partner who's never seen them because I've always wanted to show her the movies. And it would have to be different because it would be 2 of us. And I know all of them very well. So I don't know how it would work, but it would be on Patreon and it'd be fun. I hope they only bring the Fox X-Men in for a single movie. It really feels like they would benefit from a re-adaptation from scratch. Me too. I want new X-Men. I want a new take, a new idea, anything. I like X-Men 97. I think it's wonderful. It's still the 90s show. Give me new X-Men. I don't know why we're so entrenched in the X-Men having to be the thing from the past. I remember the Fox X-Men movies being very gray color-wise, and I don't like that. Yeah, that was back when everyone was trying to be gritty. Alan Cummings played Floop in Spy Kids. I really hope they'll have him be a not clinically depressed Nightcrawler. I mean, he also played Nightcrawler in X2, and he was clinically depressed. So, I feel like that's not. I love to see reactions with your partner if she's down. We'll see. You saying you don't like Storm versus Toad? No. I mean, X-Men 1's fun. It's just not the X-Men, you know? That's my thing, is they're not the X-Men at all. But again, I feel like I was very pretentious in college when I rewatched these. And if I watch them again now, maybe I'd just get more into it. Doomsday is going to be cameos. Doomsday, they announced 40 main characters. Everyone's getting 2 minutes of screen time. It's just going to be people showing up, waving hello, saying, hey, I'm in this movie, and then getting shot in the head. And that's all that movie's going to be. It's annoying the constant nostalgia baiting, yeah, especially with the X-Men comics constantly moving forward for better or for worse for the last 2 decades until the end of Krakoa. Yeah, well, and now after Krakoa, the comics are doing nothing. We regressed so hard. It was crazy. To me, the Fox X-Men movies felt very much like they were leaning into the dark TM and realistic TM superhero vibe. Oh, yeah. I mean, they just were. They're before even the Nolan Batman movies. Like the Nolan Batman movies sort of defined superhero media for the next like 10 years in like gritty and realistic. But the X-Men predate that with this idea. They're like the Blade era, where in order, it wasn't being realistic that they wanted. It was just being overly serious to the point of almost camp. Like I would argue X2, which everyone always holds as like the gritty one, is equally as campy as like The Last Stand. It's just a different style. And like, yeah. So like Nolan was weathering what X-Men is, if that makes sense. And it's funny, actually, you can tell the sequel trilogy, or prequel trilogy, or whatever the fuck it is, the ones that come after X3 are more Nolan MCU-esque superhero movies. The next series you do react to is Wolverine the X-Men. Yes, that is what will happen. I've just ordered it online, the DVD, because this fucking show isn't anywhere. And so yeah. I wonder if Young Avengers is happening during Doomsday or after. I don't think it's ever happening. It's not happening in Doomsday, and they're not young anymore. So, it's on Disney Plus. Yeah, but I can't record Disney Plus personally. It's on Internet Archive. It is not. X-Men Evolution is on Internet Archive. If you have a link to Wolverine and the X-Men on Internet Archive, that would save me a lot of time. And pop it in my Discord. But I have not been able to find it, so I ordered it online. I just started rewatching Wolverine and the X-Men yesterday, and I could just mentally hear your commentary already. Aw, that's sweet. I will say, I rewatched the first 2 or 3 episodes of Wolverine and the X-Men before starting X-Men Evolution, because that was what made me realize, like, oh, maybe I could do this as my like channel. And so I stopped. But I have seen the first like 3 episodes recently. Hopefully the MCU reboot with the universe is more connected like the comics. Hopefully. I believe you could also say Wolverine was the main character of basically all the Fox X-Men movies, and I don't think that's a very good now, at least. I don't think that's... I highly doubt that's the direction they're going to move in again. It doesn't... Someone earlier said that they're going to focus more on the summers. That makes sense to me. I think we're in this day and age, Cyclops as the main character has kind of come back into vogue. Would you ever react to The Gifted? Yes, it's on the table. Everything's on the table. Post Wolverine and Teen Titans, everything's on the table. I gotta figure it out. But the thing with The Gifted is it's live action, and I'm kind of more worried about reacting to live action. You should watch Cyclops. His powers kind of suck by Solid JJ. I think you would get a kick out of it. I like his powers. Will you do a reaction episode for the first 3 episodes of Wolverine and the X-Men since a 3-parter and still 2 and 2? No, it'd be, yeah, I do all 3. It's going to stress me out, but I'm actually going to have to film that in like a week. But yes, I'm going to do all 3 episodes. It's going to be a long one, but it seems really silly to do the first 2 parts of a 3-parter and then a 3rd part with 1 part. That just seems ridiculous. How does your knowledge about DC, the Teen Titans compare to X-Men and Marvel? It is abysmal. It is bottom of the barrel. My Teen Titans series is going to be incredibly different in that instead of ranting about the comics every 10 seconds, I won't do that because I don't know anything about the goddamn Teen Titans comics. I meant to read a lot before we got here. I didn't do that. So I don't know anything. And so we're going to Teen Titans basically completely blind. Maybe I'll read more Teen Titans comics as I watch it because it's going to take me like 6 months to watch that fucking show. It's so long. Maybe I'll become more educated as we go. Maybe I won't. But Wolverine and the X-Men, I'll continue just word vomiting about the X-Men. It'll probably be a lot of the same tidbits, though. I feel like maybe I've already said everything I can say about the X-Men. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to read more 90s shit. Do you see Gambit in Marvel Rivals? There's only like 1 pic of him right now. I have seen him in Marvel Rivals. I'm very excited. There'll be stuff you could talk about, the Batman comic stuff, at least for Teen Titans. Even then, I've never really read like the ongoing Batman comic. I've read the like, Long Halloween, Year One, Hush, like that kind of stuff. The little solos they do. But I've never just like read detective comics. So we're going to see. It's going to be a new experience. And I hope everyone likes it. It'll be completely, genuinely my first thoughts on almost all of it. I could not tell you a single thing that happens in the 2013 Titan show. I will stay around for the stream, but I'm currently at a concert. Have a good stream. I'll definitely be here next week. Hey, have fun at the concert. What do you think of the Age of Revelation stuff going on currently? I have not read it personally. I'm so behind on reading comics because I have been just editing videos for the last 3 months in this little room. But the concept is annoying to me. The creative teams seemed promising. Judas Contract is the Teen Titans comic, pretty big. Yeah. I got Judas Contract. I don't know if I'm going to have that read by the first Teen Titans episode, but I have it and I'll read it eventually. Thoughts on Moon Girl, the character, not the show. Love her in the comic, love the show. Got this on the background to draw. Figured it's so rare I see one of these. I take a break from my radiography coursework. Yeah, take a break. I've got like 10 minutes till the main band comes on, so I can stick around for just a bit. Gummy Clown, I admire your ability. Read Judas Contract between season 1 and 2. Okay. That's a fair thing to say. If I remember that, I'll read it. It is huge, actually. I'm not like feeling this book. This is very large. It's a much longer story than I thought. I know what happens in it. Like, I know about Terra and Deathstroke and everything. Is there going to be a break after Evolution is done? Yes, we're going to do a little bit of, not a break in me stopping posting, but a break before we do Wolverine, the X-Men, and Teen Titans. I have 2 little things I want to react to that are isolated that I think people are going to like. And on Patreon, boom, 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 literally, when I'm done with this, I'm going to film my second, third ever Patreon exclusive, which is going to be a reaction to the Generation X movie. So yeah. If you're on Patreon, look forward to that. That'll come out then. So Cyclops' eyes are portals to a punt dimension. What the hell? It's controversial. There's like levels of pretentiousness to this, right? To the average individual, his eyes are laser beams. To one step below, if you're like if you're like a nerdy comic book person and you like to one-up people with comic book knowledge, you bring up that they're actually portals to a hell dimension. And if you're one step even lower, and you're like me, who's like the most pedantic of nerd of all time, you bring up that technically the punch dimension thing only actually comes from a single handbook in the 1980s, and no comic has ever actually confirmed that's what his powers are or spoken of them as being that. Usually it's him absorbing solar energy and then shooting it back out through his eyeballs. But technically, since the handbooks are considered canon, it could be true. It's just literally never come up. And yeah, so those are your things. I've just finished reading just about every X-Men Major comic from Morrison, The Second Coming. I was wondering if worth reading the OG stuff or just go back to Claremont. Go back to Claremont. I will say, I was on such a binge of X-Men comics like 2 years ago. I worked all the way through Claremont. I got like halfway through the 90s, and I decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and start at the 60s and then go all the way through. And that murdered my ability to read these comics. And I have not been able to pick back up my binge in like years, actual years. So the 60s are hard. The punch dimension thing really annoys me. See, Scandal, that's because you're down here with me. Once you get, there's always like, to almost everything in comic book culture, I feel like there is the surface level take, there is the like middle ground take, and then there's the real invested take. And it's like Iceman, right? Most people, Iceman, cool dude, has snow powers. One level lower, oh, did you know he's actually an Omega level mutant? One lower below that, did you know that he wasn't for most of his publication history? And the entire point that he is because it had to do with him like accepting himself and shit. It's not just he's like the most powerful guy around. Like almost everything has that. I have it with Gambit's lobotomy too. I get annoyed when people bring it up. There's always some little like watered down fun fact that goes viral in the fandom that then you become even more contrarian for rejecting. Um, could Leech have been resurrected on Krakoa, or would his powers mess with it like Kitty Pryde? I've also wondered this. I feel like it would mess with it. Um, the Kitty Pryde answer I found very underwhelming. Like, because the logic was basically she's so used to phasing that she doesn't even think about breaking out of the egg, which is stupid in my opinion. Like, Kitty breaks things. That doesn't make any sense. She uses doors, but I think Leech's powers would generally fuck it up. I think the problem with Leech and the system that is created for the five is that he would be made and he'd bust out of the egg, but his power would already be active, and Xavier wouldn't be able to put the mental thing back into him. And I think that would be your real issue. But also, they were able to like suppress Orphan Maker's power for long enough to get him back in the suit. I feel like just do whatever that is again for Leech, and then you're fine. I have a question. What is the Hulk Krakoan arc? All I can process is Xavier can walk now, and that one panel of Wolverine, Scott, and Jean. So Xavier's been walking since 2005. That's not really related to this. He walked before that too. I have an old TikTok about this. He's actually walked for more than he's ever been in the chair. But that's not to do with Krakoa. But Krakoa was basically all of the mutants moving to an island where they got to live and rule themselves, and all of the political and social intrigue that came from that decision. It was very good, in my opinion. Could, hypothetically, Hope copy his powers to nullify Leech nullifying so they can do whatever they need to? I don't think you can nullify the nullifying. But, again, they have like a reality warper on the team. Like, I feel like they could get around it. I had the link. What's your Discord? I don't know. You go click in the description of any of my videos. I'm sorry. And you'll see the Discord link. If Forget Me Not is a real character, how the hell would Resurrection work for him? It did work for him. He came back in the white hot room. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how. Forge built like a device and people could remember him. That's all you need. Did Krakoa bring back the Deadly Genesis team? Yes. Vulcan came back. Petra was on briefly in like a New Mutants comic. Darwin went into the vault and seemingly, I think, also died there. Who else is there? There's Sway. Sway was a vision of Vulcans. I don't think she was in the New Mutants comic, but presumably she's alive. They made a device to remember, but everyone who had it died and lost the device. Yeah, but then it came back in the white hot room, so it's fine. I read the occasional Krakoan miniseries. Loved Hellions. Empath is such a little shit. Love him. Hellions is one of the best books in the line, for sure. Big fan of Hellions. Written by Zeb Wells, who would then become everyone's least favorite man. I think unfairly. Colossus is basically always the sweetest little guy in all adaptations of his character and is so adorable. They do love to make him very nice in an adaptation. He's got a great PR team. Wait, Forget Me Not is a real character and not just some fandom joke character? Yes, Forget Me Not is real. He comes, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong about this, he comes from a single comic, which was going to be a joke about how like all the Deus Ex Machinas throughout X-Men history were actually this guy that no one could remember. But he is turned into like a genuine, real character with like emotions and a personality and a name in a book called Legion of X during Krakoa. Colossus is nice in 6162. He just has that one big point of baggage that people, writers included, won't let go. Yeah, plus, I mean, it's more everything he did after that. Like, it's him being weird in the 90s and like to Pete Wisdom and joining the Acolytes and all that stuff. That's like the actual shit. And it all kind of spins out of the relationship with Kitty being viewed as weirder as time went on. But he was a big dick for a while. And that's kind of the issue. Claremont Colossus is wonderful. In fact, before I read Claremont, I was not a fan of Colossus. And then I went back and read all of Claremont, and I saw why people liked this man. But he's just not really been good since. And also, I think he's not even that good in Krakoa. People like him in Krakoa. He's like mind wiped the entire time. And then now, it was Tank? Okay, I don't. But he's very fun in Claremont. I'll give him that. Do you have a least favorite X band? Angel, the bird. What's your favorite artist for X-Men comics? That guy. Psychowitz, I think his name is. Oh yeah, why was the only way for depower mutants to get their powers back to be resurrected? Surely Forge could have just built something. Didn't Xavier Max get their powers back with tech? People got their powers back through like random nonsense. Xavier got his back, I'm pretty sure, through House of M. No, I don't think he ever lost it. He like there was some reality warping thing that let him walk, but it wasn't. I don't think he ever lost his powers. Magneto got his back. Also didn't lose his powers, but got resurrected in a different way from Krakoan Resurrection, which is what you're probably thinking of. But in general, people got their powers back through silly things. Jubilee got her powers back through a very silly random thing. But in general, it's because it's magic. It was Wanda's fault. There wasn't like a tech thing. Wanda rewrote reality so people weren't mutants. So it's just you had to bring them back from a fresh slate. It was like restarting. I think it's interesting how the first time Colossus takes a life, he gets stuck in metal form, and we see moments like him unable to use his sketchbook because it catches on fire from his hot metal body. Yeah, that was Riptide, and then what was it the beginning of Inferno? It's the beginning of Fall of the Mutants where he burns the sketchbook, I believe. Guys, don't judge me, but my first X-Men comic I read was Astonishing X-Men by Joss Whedon. That's fine. Thoughts on Morrison's version of Emma Frost was only because editorial said no to resurrecting Colossus, despite him being brought back at Whedon's run. To my knowledge, that part only impacted Emma having a secondary mutation. I think he was still going to use Emma forever. It's not like the original idea was to have Scott in a love triangle with Colossus, you know? Like, it was still Emma for most of the story. He just needed a tank to survive the Genoshan massacre. And that also became Emma because he just gave her the diamond form. Why didn't they just make Wanda do a Control-Z? I feel like she couldn't. Like, I think, again, I haven't read Uncanny Avengers, which is where that would come up. But, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just hand-waved that somehow she wasn't able to just fix it. Nikhil, you're such a blessing. As a trans person, your Pride series healed me during a tough time in the world. Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. That's a fast chat. Oh no, it was just catching up. LOL. Yes, sometimes it just goes. I went on Cosmonaut Variety Hours guide on getting into X-Men. My first major X-Men story was XF Investigations, and now Multiple Man is my favorite X-Men ever. That'll happen if your first X-Men story is X-Men Investigations, for sure. Wait, let's do that love triangle. Scott and Colossus is kind of the most crack shit possible. I don't know what they would talk about. I think it's fun how often Marvel uses a trench coat and a big hat to hide characters who need to hide their face, like Beast and the Thing. It's the best way to go. Even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles love a trench coat and a hat combination. Best X event, in my opinion, Mutant Massacre. Worst one? I don't know. One that I probably don't think about. X Manhunt was recent, but sucked. That might be recency bias, but for now, I'll say X Manhunt is the worst one because that was butt. Do you have an actual list of things written down that you want to react to, or do you just have a mental list? A mental one because it's only like 3 things at the current moment. Like, you guys have to understand, once I go down to only doing one of my episodes a week for each show, like it'll be Wolverine the X-Men on Monday, Teen Titans on Friday, hopefully, right? And once I do that, we're going to take like 6 months to get through these shows. They're long. Even Wolverine the X-Men, it's one season, it's 26 episodes, which is 13 weeks of my life. That's 4 months. And then I'm going to do the animes after Wolverine the X-Men. Teen Titans is over 50 episodes. That's over 25 weeks. That's 6 months of time. I'll figure out what comes next halfway through 2026. I'm biased because I don't like Charles, but yeah, X Manhunt was butts. Yep. Thank you so much for all your videos. They always make me feel like a part of my community. Make me feel like part of a community, even though I don't know any comic fans in real life. Well, that's wonderful, because that's kind of what I would love to do for people. I never knew any comic fans growing up. It wasn't until I started the TikTok that I started like actually talking to other people who like comics. It was always a very personal interest of mine. Batman Beyond, I think, is roughly the same length as X-Men Evolution. No shot it's that short. Is Batman Beyond that short? Hold on. Batman Beyond list of episodes. If Batman Beyond is only 20-something episodes, we're cooking. 13, no. Yeah, you were so wrong. Sorry. 38, plus another 13. It's the same length as Teen Titans, almost exactly. So 6 months of time. That's yeah. No. Maybe. But like that would mean Teen Titans and Batman Beyond is a full year. When you can do video essays again, do you think you're going to do a Rogue essay because you've already done a Gambit one, so his partner getting one makes sense? I would have to come up with something to do. Like Gambit, I just had things I wanted to yell about. I've done 2 Gambit ones because I was mad at the way people talked about Gambit for 2 different ways. Same with like the Storm one and the Craven one. I need a point. If I could think of a solid point about Rogue, I could do a Rogue one. So partly because of recent Superman discussions, are there any X teams that are more about disaster relief or about rescuing people instead of fighting whatever? Kind of all of them, to be fully honest, are like rooted in rescue behavior. There is that group in Krakoa that someone will know in the comics comments that I don't think we ever really see. There's one like solo issue that's about like them providing relief after a hurricane. But that's like the most specific to what you're talking about. Besides the Bat family, who would you say is your favorite DC character? Besides the Bat family, Etrigan. Even though I'm such a fake fan, when they release that new The Demon series, I'm gonna pick it up, and that'll be my first like DC ongoing I think I've ever picked up. I hated Gambit as a character because I saw him in Wolverine and the X-Men, where he always attempts a genocide and seduces a child. Huh? Okay, don't tell me any more about that because I'm gonna need to react to that. But oh, don't love that. Yeah, no, neither of those things happened. Okay, great. Thank you, Scandal. I was like, what? I don't remember any of that shit. And remember, Nikhil, to tell me if Clarion is in the demon. Will do, Violet Witch. All right, everyone stop spoiling Wolverine and the X-Men for me right now. Lorna is who he seduces? That's crazy. Everyone shut up. No talking about Wolverine and the X-Men. We are talking about X-Men Evolution, the show that we're currently watching. If Gambit does some fuck shit Wolverine and the X-Men, it'll happen in that episode, and then I'll react to that, and then we can talk about it. I promise I'm not so blind. Sorry, I don't mean to spoil. You're fine. I'm just joking around. But like, seriously, if he does fuck shit, it'll make for good content at least. I'm not like so blind in my love of Gambit that I'll excuse anything, but I will excuse a lot. Have you seen Danny Moonstar's new suit design? No, I have not. Oh my god, guys, speaking of Simpsons, Fortnite is doing The Simpsons right now, and I'm playing for the first time since the Marvel season, and I love it. Fucking, I gotta get back in when Mo becomes the skin. I want the Mo skin, and I want to shoot people as Mo. That's all I want in my life. Can you be Homer? If you buy the fucking battle pass, you can be Homer. Not me, bitch. I'm buying Mo, and just Mo. When did we mention The Simpsons? Someone said it in the chat, and that's all that matters to me. People of talking about a pile of adaptations with similar names. You have to be precise with your monikers and spelling. Absolutely. Do you think it's stupid when Spider-Man is very buff? I don't think he should be like super buff, but I don't mind if he's like got abs. Danny's getting a book. Whoa, like a solo? This Shadow dropped the announcement in an Echo one-shot and gave almost no details except that, which is just Moonstar. Okay, well, first of all, give Danny a code name. I understand maybe not wanting to do Mirage anymore, but give her something. I don't love this just using her last name shtick. Aside from Toad, which X-Men Evo character would you like to see adapted to the live action? Ooh, to live action. That's a good question. Because they're all so different. Which X-Men Evo character would be good in live action? Because I feel like I can't say any of the kids, because then we're getting the kids. Like it's just a child, you know? Magma. Actually, I lied. We're going to do one of the kids. And she could be a kid, because she could be the New Mutants. Give me that Magma in live action. That would be my pick. And then you could still do comic adaptation for everyone else. Do you prefer Marvel Girl for Jean Grey or Phoenix? Phoenix, far and wide. I think she should always be called Phoenix, even when she's not Phoenixing. I think her name should just be Phoenix. Because then also you have Phoenix and Cyclops, which is like thematic to me. And Beast and Angel. It's really just Iceman who's not pulling his weight. You should be called like Abominable or something. Brown Amanda Sefton, I would also appreciate. Does anyone else just prefer when heroes don't have a code name? Am I the weird one? I mean, I don't know if you're the weird one, but I don't. I like a code name. This is all the effects of I Am Iron Man from 2008. The MCU hated code names, and they were like, it's fine. Like almost nobody actually has one. If you watch those movies, almost no one gets called by their code name ever. I don't think Hawkeye was called Hawkeye until like the show Hawkeye. Frustrates me. He's called the Hawk in Thor, which was crazy as well. But no, give heroes code names and make them good. Everyone calls Cap Steve. Exactly. It's insane. It was weird that Jean never had a code name in Evolution because you can't call her Marvel Girl anymore. That became like a different thing. The Marvel like name brand became a different thing. Captain Marvel and all that shit. So now Marvel Girl doesn't make sense because it's her Marvel Girl and then what's his face Marvel Boy. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. And now you can't call her Phoenix because they made Phoenix into its own fucking thing. Stop. She's Phoenix. Thor got called Thor in the MCU. It's a solid point. I feel like out of all the X-Men, Jean gets called by her government name the most. Yes. I didn't even realize she had nicknames for a long time. She does. Because, again, Marvel Girl got fucked, and then Phoenix got fucked. What Kitty Pryde name do you support? Shadowcat. It's, like, a little silly, but I think Shadowcat's the best one. Sprite, we've moved past. Ariel, no. Shadowcats. Ariel, I don't like because I don't think your code name should be another name. That confuses me. If it's just another first name, that's weird. It's got to very clearly be a code name. Does Emma Frost have a code name? Technically, the White Queen. For reasons I understand, they don't call her that very often. I feel like it's not hard, though, like now, to like just twist it to the Diamond Queen or something. And just get around that as an issue, but technically it's the White Queen. Didn't they also give Ariel to someone else? Yeah, Ariel's like, she's a Marvel Snap card now. I don't actually know anything about it. I think she was on Agents of Atlas. I recently started reading Uncanny X-Men. I wasn't ready for the stupid costumes and names Kitty went through. I do love the old costumes. I think when the costumes looked like a 13-year-old made them, they were fun. Thoughts on Channing Tatum Gambit? I liked it for what it was. I do not need to see it again. Oh, Ice Queen. Also, she doesn't have ice powers, but Ice Queen is like a joke on her demeanor as well. And I feel like that could work. What about Rogue just always being Rogue? That's fine to me. Only having a code name is goated. That's the best one. I want to get back into DCAU, but it's such a massive series. It's going to take me ages. I binged all of the DCAU movies once upon a time, and it was wonderful, but it did take forever. I submit Phaser. I'm going to go ahead and veto Phaser. I know of X-23 and Firestar. Are there other Marvel characters that originated in an adaptation? Surely, the answer is yes. Spike is from X-Men Evolution, and he appears in like 2 comics ever after that. Luna, no. Is Luna Snow originally from Strike Force? Is that true? Marvel character original. I know there's somebody who comes from Strike Force. Strike Force original characters. Deathpool? Spider-Weaver. That's crazy. I don't know who either of those are, to be fully honest. Isn't Spider-Weaver the gay Spider-Man? No, that's Web Weaver. I don't know. Future Fight. Oh! Luna Snow is from Future Fight. I knew she was from a game that's not Rivals, but like she is a game exclusive from a different game. Scarlet Scarab, who was technically an old character but was completely changed in Moon Knight, got recently adapted. True. Yeah, she's new. Luna's from Future Fight. I said that earlier. Well, I'm sorry, Violet Witch. I didn't see. Coulson was an MCU original. That is also true. Nick Jr., you could argue, like Nick Fury Jr., you could argue, premiered in the movies first, but not really. It's more because the Ultimate Universe did Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, and then the movies adapted that with Samuel L. Jackson, and then the main comics adapted Samuel L. Jackson from the movies into Nick Fury Jr. so that people wouldn't get confused when Nick Fury was white. So that's like kind of that's like a circle. What do you think of Jack Kirby's art? It's some of my favorite art in general. He's fantastic. Kirby Crackle to the end, my friend. Wait, Coulson is an MCU original? That's surprising to me. Oh, yeah. I mean, Coulson, people like, before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Coulson just exists to be a random background character that you get to know and then watch die so that you feel bad. It's similar like Sitwell. Isn't that his name? Sitwell? The other one that like is a traitor in Civil War? Or Winter Soldier, I mean. In the comics, Morph was called Changeling, but there was some weird legal stuff since Beast Boy also used to call himself that, and they just changed him to Morph in the show. That's not, to my knowledge, why he's Morph in the show. Morph being Changeling is also like such a goddamn stretch. It's insane. Changeling is an X-Men villain who appears in like 10 issues before Morph showed up in the show from the 60s. And the entire point of his character is that, surprise, Xavier didn't die that time we all saw Xavier die. It was actually Changeling. That's the whole bit. To the point that Changeling didn't have a real name. Morph and Changeling have the same human name of Kevin Sidney because they went back later in a 2004 handbook and changed Changeling to have a real name because he never had one before. I think it's absolutely absurd to argue that Morph is Changeling in any capacity. Like, I would say Morph is a character who premieres in that show and then gets taken into exiles and all that shit because holy crap, is that just not him? What is your least favorite retcon in Marvel? Mine is very niche, but it's that Gambit is not a character named the Witness. When we first are introduced to Bishop, the whole thing is that he was raised by a guy named LeBeau, who is the Witness. And he runs a criminal organization in the future. He has a bunch of pink energy flowing around him, and he's called the Witness because he watched the X-Men die. And he's like the last X-Man who got to see them. He's not, they don't say he's an X-Man, but like he's the person who saw the X-Men die. And the big twist right before Bishop comes back in time to meet the X-Men is that, oh, the reason the Witness saw the X-Men die is because he's the one who arranged for them to get killed. So then he goes back in time, he meets Gambit, and he's like, hey, you're LeBeau. And that's the first time that we hear Gambit's real name. Up until then, he's just Gambit. And so everyone's like, wait, what do you mean you're LeBeau? And then we learn who Gambit is and Remy LeBeau and all this. And the question is, does he become the Witness? Yes, obviously. But then he's like, not in this world, because it's like, that's an alternate timeline. So in 616, it's going to be good. And then randomly, for no reason, they retconned that Gambit wasn't the Witness. That was a different man. Why? For what reason? It annoys me. I'm getting too heated, but I think no one cares about. But it annoys me specifically. Jasper Sitwell was technically a guy in the comics in like the 60s. Really? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. What's your... Oh, yes. Herbie does come from an old Fantastic Four show because they replaced him. They replaced Johnny Storm with him, to my knowledge, right? That's crazy. Bishop's future is even more of a massive retcons than Cable's. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be the same future. Like, it's like Cable's from like 1,000 years in that future, and Bishop's from like 100 years in that future. I think that was like the message of Messiah Complex. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. How many often are mutants immediately born with physical mutation? All of the physical ones are pretty much from birth. The powers that come during puberty are like the actual powers. Like Gambit's kinetic charging, he gets when he's about 13. We've seen that happen. Nightcrawler, I don't think we ever like see the childhood of, but presumably he gets his teleporting around 13. But the physical stuff is from birth. Like Leech was always little green dude. Like that's just they never really get into how it works, but like it seems to be two separate classes of thing: a physical mutation versus a powers mutation. Because also, like notably, Leech doesn't work on physical mutations. He only affects the power ones. Do you like the character Multiple Man, and do you know any good comics with him other than the 2005 X Factor run with him in it? The older X Factor run with him in it's very good, in my opinion. X Factor investigations try to explain why some are born with mutations with an idea called kill crops, but it was sort of dumb and everyone else ignored it. Right, because that's why like Mutant Man, Multiple Man's like a different sort of mutant, right? That was dumb. I don't care about that. Leech doesn't work on mutates, right? I would have to see him in a Fantastic Four comic one day to know. I'd assume not, because then how are the Fantastic Four active? But you know. Have you ever thought of a mutant X-Men OC? Yes, I have a whole series on a guy named Cobweb. Spike had a physical mutation later in life, maybe the only non-example. Yeah, and he's from the show, which is notable. Marrow, as a little girl at least, when Gambit saves her, already has her bone condition. So I think presumably she was born with it as well. Leech did work on the power pack. That's a good shout. Leech doesn't work on Fantastic Four at all because he's in the Future Foundation and only works on Franklin. See, now there is this. There is that. Leech, I think, is a complicated character because if you actually used his power the way that I would think it should be used, he'd be a lot more horrifying and a lot more of a hindrance to a story. Multiple Man's power was from birth. He's called a changeling. Yeah, we just addressed this. We just talked about this. What are your thoughts on Marvel doing 2010s trying to replace the X-Men with Inhumans? I think it was dumb, and I'm happy we're over it. We're past that hump. No, Marrow shows her bones as a team with Michael Rasputin when she is sent to the wasteland. Now, here's what's interesting about this. That, what you're describing, is from Marrow's actual origin, like her first appearances in the comics. However, in Gambit's origin story, retcon from like 2012 or whatever, Gambit Origins, it shows him saving Marrow as a child, and then you can clearly see that she's like 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, she could fit in his arms, and can clearly see that she's already covered in bones because they have to let you know that's Marrow. You're definitely right in like what actually matters, but because I like Gambit more, I'm going with that as my continuity. It feels like Leech is more used as a plot device than a character. Oh yeah, I mean he's a little kid. He's not like there's a book I've never read that I've always wanted to read that has like him, Artie, and Man Thing that are like an actual book about himself. And I want to read that. But otherwise, yeah, he's just like the little kid on the team. Wasn't Sauron a normal human? Sauron is not a mutant, to my memory. I'm pretty sure that he's just like a mad scientist or something. Sauron Marvel. I don't think you're a mutant. Carl Lycos. Are you a mutant? According to this website, no. He is a human, wounded by a Patriodonus in the Savage Land and apparently mutated into a vampire-like version of them. So yeah. I guess not even really so much a mad scientist. A guy who got bit by a radioactive pterodactyl. Rip him. Hi, Nikita. Love the series. I found an evolution storm figure. She comes with a spinning cloud base with lightning but projectiles. Also, she shoots water out of her arm. The toy does more than the shell. That's insane. That's actually hilarious. Frustrating as I have to type every name out, especially with all those force numbers. What are we talking about? Is Spider-Man a mutate? Yes. Would you ever play one of Marvel vs. Capcom games? I have played the old like arcade version. Swan has a tragic Jekyll and Hyde situation, and all he's remembered for is the "I don't want to cure cancer" meme. I mean, I don't know if every character has some level of depth, you know, but I don't think they all need to be like great tragic figures. The dinosaur man can just be a dinosaur man. That's okay. It reminds me, you can always tell when someone has only ever read, not you, but like in general, you can always tell when someone has only ever read a couple of comics because they treat the idea that characters have nuance to them as like a novel concept. I saw someone on TikTok once a long time ago trying to argue that fucking Rhino, is the best Spider-Man villain because his story actually has like layers, unlike most of them. And it's like, you could just tell me that you've only ever read a Spider-Man comic with Rhino in it. Like, I get that people think comic book characters, like most people's conception of a comic book character is not as a character, but as a trading card. It is like a visual, maybe one or two fun facts, and a name, and the power set. That's all they could think of. So when they learn that some characters actually have depth and personalities and stories, they're like, wow, this must be a rarity. And it's not. That's just all of them. Sabretooth is a good, he's just a bad dude villain. Creed is a sadistic sociopath, no more depth. I mean, he has a little bit more depth, to be fully honest. But also, like, I agree. He should just be a sadistic sociopath. Speaking of trading cards, those Spider-Man Magic cards sucked. I don't play Magic the Gathering. I did like the comic where they did flowers for Algernon with Rhino, but that's not like his whole thing most of the time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this one guy read. I just knew that clearly that's what that was. Nikhil, can a mutant power just be magic? Yes. I assume it's complicated now because Wanda's no longer a mutant. So I guess no. Contrary to popular belief, Magic, the character, his mutant power is not magic. Her mutant power is teleporting. She just also knows magic. So I don't actually know if I could think of a mutant whose power is magic. Selene also does magic. Also not her mutant power. Her mutant power is like controlling non-organic matter or something. Yeah, I think most of the powerful mutant sorcerers just happen to be sorcerers. If you could get one game based off the X-Men mutants, how would you like it to be handled? I'm not very good at designing games in my brain, but I would like one. Games, I think I'm more also open. Games, I'm more also open to doing solos. Like I think a Gambit Thieves Guild game would be very fun. Is Pixie's power magic? No, Pixie's power is also teleportation. She just also knows magic. To be fair to that, though, Pixie's like very specifically a rip on Ileana. To the point that she has like the soul dagger instead of the sword, the soul sword. Like they're doing a parallel thing with those two. Pixie's power is a teleportation. What? Oh no, you're right. It's the fairy dust thing, isn't it? Oh, rip me. I got exposed as a fake fan. The magic is the teleportation for her. It's a twist. You're right. Just to say that spell, she goes like Shabalo or something, and then she teleports. That's right. Keep me on my toes, gang. Keep me on my toes. Y'all killing this shit. Use your superhero and everyone who's D&D together should play Marvel vs. Capcom together. That would be fun. Pitch a Rhythm Thief-like starring Gambit. I don't know what that is, but yeah, do it. Anyways, I have to go. We've been here for more than an hour. This has been very fun. I enjoy these every time. Next Monday, you will see my reactions to episode 1 and 2. Friday, you will see my reactions to 3 and 4. I will be back for a live show then. Then after that, there is episode 5 on itself, 6 and 7. And then the Monday before Thanksgiving, 8 and 9. The reason that we did not do a break this time is because I'm going to be busy at my family's for the Friday after Thanksgiving, for Black Friday. And I couldn't go live and everything. And I wanted to have fun on the finale of X-Men Evolution. So we're doing it with no break, just here. And yeah, enjoy. Adios, everyone. I'm going to end the stream now.